Hey, good morning, guys. Sorry about the delay.
It's okay.
No problem.
Well, there's something going on, right?
Yeah, you should have seen us right before we got on.
Well,
Multiple computers and nothing working like we wanted.
right. That's usually how it goes. So usually, like I said, I'm an early kind of. We get on. Chris and I will go on about 15 minutes early, and I just kept getting one thing after another. So, hey, but we're here. We made it! Yay! You know, that's what business is all about. You gotta adjust on the fly. It's just what life is. And so glad we can have you guys on. So you guys, last time we saw you, it was a long time ago at Mobile Tech. And, hopefully you guys have recovered. So real quick before we even get going, was that your guys' first Mobile Tech?
Oh no.
No. How many Mobile Techs have you guys gone to?
That might have been the fourth. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
you guys are old pros.
But it's so cool. What I love about Mobile Tech is every year I use it like a gauge to see the forward momentum that we've done from the previous year. And when we first came there, we were scared and broke. And so it always feels good to see the progress.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I'm not sure if you guys knew or could see it, I guess a better term, the difference within the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Could you see that? I mean, it was pretty amazing what the difference was on, what detailers were doing and how many detailers were there. And, it had been a bit, right? We hadn't been there in a couple of years. So what was your takeaway from that for our industry, kind of the state of the industry?
Do you want to field that, or did you want me to?
Go for it.
Well, absolutely, I agree. Because when we first started into the industry and going to mobile tech, we saw a difference in that. Finally, detailers are realizing that they need to be good at a lot of other aspects in our business. Social media has come up as a big player in terms of getting business, also running your business and being able to be profitable. A lot of us started the business with a passion, and passion is great, just like you featured in your book. But if it's unbridled or is uncontrolled, then it might not bring you the results that you want. So we see a lot of change in the industry in terms of focusing more on the business, being smarter about what we do, and putting more value in the service that we provide for our customers.
Yeah, definitely.
I
Because
love
we
that.
we were going to all the classes for how to get the right pad, polisher, all that. But that's where we were in our journey, and that's fine. We needed that, and so we figured some of those basics out. And so now I'm hitting all the social media courses and anything that can help me, how to retain employees, all that marketing that I need to make the business side of it stronger.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, you know what? And you do go back. You can't. It's forward progress on the technical side. We got to always remember, we are technicians, right? So sometimes I feel I go too far into the business and forget to tell people you still got to practice your trade. You still got to take and increase the art. You still got to take and increase the efficiency. You got to match those efficiencies to profits. There's so many things that are tied from this to this that still have to happen. And knowing that right pad, knowing the latest product, the detailer makes the product, not the product makes the detailer. But a well-equipped technician is going to do a lot better. So we kind of went backwards at this. So hey, Chris, good morning.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Yeah, I was gonna say we kind of started off right on the topic, but
we just had to jump right into it. So
I was gonna say, if you don't mind, could I introduce these guys to everybody real quick?
Heck yeah, let's go.
All right. So if you don't know who we're talking to here, this is Alex and Marcy Tran. They're from is it Brenham, Texas? Did I say that right?
Right,
That's
Brenham,
right.
Texas.
All right. So Brenham, Texas, where they own Clean Car Custom Detailing. And anyway, they are a husband-wife team, business owners. And like a lot of us, they have struggled to build a profitable business, but eventually kind of got things figured out. And they are also the creators of an upcoming online academy called the Detail Masters Academy, where there's going to be a focus on accelerating your profits. So I believe it's maximum profits within your detailing business. So that is a free online academy. We're gonna dig into that a little bit later, but there's a website for it, and I've got that listed on the screen, so you guys could check it out at some point. But Marcy and Alex have some cool insight to share on the the 20 industry experts they're bringing in to that academy to share information with all of you. And I think this will be fun.
Yeah, it was an honor to be part of that. I got to get interviewed, and it was really fun. And I think you guys did a great job. And like we said, we'll jump into that here in a second. But so, Chris, last week we had a busy week. We had our 5-day training go on. And unfortunately, we had one of our students before the training even started had a family emergency and had to leave before class even started. And
Yep.
we won't go into details, but it turned out pretty tragic. So our hearts are out to you.
Yeah, but we had the 3 students that were there did great, and
2 of them brand new.
Yep.
To detailing, and have been skirting around detailing. But had not really, ran polishers and stuff before, which is kind of unusual for us. Usually we get kind of a mix. So it was, in this case, with only having 3 active students, they did really well. All of them, all 3 of them just killed it. And we had a busy week of, 60, I think it was 68 hours, in 5 days. And
you know what, in our trainings too, you usually do a pretty good job of making an impact with these guys and changing some parts of their lives. I really saw it this time though, and it was a cool week. I felt good coming home.
Yeah, I did too. I thought, our night. So when we say goodbye to these guys, it's very emotional. Matter of fact, their names are still over on the board. We don't take their names down until the beginning of the next class. It feels weird coming in here on Monday and not having them here because you've spent, 70 hours with them, and you're not only working with them, but we feed them here. So we went out and had breakfast one morning together. So you spend a lot of time with people that you're not real familiar with, and it gets to bond. But we had a little challenge for one of our attendees, and at the end, and it got a little emotional. So it's pretty cool. But and then I'm heading out. I'm going back to Florida tomorrow morning. Matter of fact, 24 hours from now, I'll be on sitting at the airport getting ready to board to go back to Auto Geeks boot camp. So this is kind of cool because this is Justin Lobato. A lot of people know who Justin is, and if you don't, look him up. But this is his first boot camp with Auto Geek, and so I'm going back and going to join some other professionals that they're bringing in to assist with the class, and this is really exciting. This is going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Yep.
So, and then today I even get, we got snow. It feels weird to be in Big Bear in a mountain town and a ski town and be so shocked that we got snow. But that's how light of a winter we've had. We haven't had any snow, so it was cool to hear the crunch of snow under our feet this morning. And we've got yesterday we got one dog that's a snow dog. He's 13 and a half years old. He thinks he's 3, and he was pretty excited. So we had to take him on multiple walks, especially after it started snowing, because he just was out of his mind crazy because he usually has more snow. So. So we've had a busy week, and then we get back, we get a little downtime. We're right back into training and a senior year trip with our daughter and all kinds of deep breath stuff, right? So, yeah. Well, I think we got to jump into it. Anything else? I
was just going to tell you one little thing. I haven't told you this yet. Something exciting happened this week. I took Brittany on Saturday morning out to a Cars and Coffee event, and I woke up early, even though I was exhausted from the night before, because I don't think I got to bed till 2 a.m. But we went out to Cars and Coffee, and there was a group of Porsche 356 owners there.
Oh.
And these were actually replicas. They weren't real because, the real ones cost a lot.
Right.
But these were very nice replicas. Well, guess what Brittany wants now?
She wants a 356.
Yep. So she actually is on board with us setting a plan to get one of those replicas sometime.
That's not a bad plan. That was kind of, my uncle had one before I was born, and I bet you today, if I talked to him, he's 80. I think he's going to be 85. And I bet you if I talked to him today and asked him, he still regrets selling that car. He had, naturally back then it
was a real one.
He bought it brand new. But he talks about that, cruising around Southern California and his, 356. I think he had a 356B, because I think it was the actual car.
Yeah. But, well, anyway, I thought, I'm excited because it's pretty rare for me to get her excited about a car purchase.
Right. Well, that's a cool car to be excited about. I mean, it's just, it's classic, it's performance, it's classy. I mean, right? I can see her driving that. I think you need to make that happen, Chris.
Oh, we'll work on it. There's a
You
bit
know,
of a wait for them, and they're still not super cheap. It's about a $50,000 entry onto one of those.
well, and I got the perfect license plate for her.
Oh yeah, what's that?
I'm going to steal this from Diane. Her license plate, we got to get it that says hers.
There you go.
You know, that way it's definitely, it's tagged and marked, and it's, it's clear of whose car it is. So when you're driving it, she's giving you the honor of driving, her Porsche.
Yep.
So that's cool. What color would she get?
Oh, that's still debatable. It would be the classic silver or white, or we're looking at honestly a really cool blue with red leather interior.
Oh man, yeah,
that's the direction I want to go. The blue with the red.
They hot rod those things too. I mean, you can get that thing where it's not just a standard 356. It's got some kick to it. So we were up at Gordon McCall's event, and we worked on a cool old classic with a race car driver that was blue with red interior, and I'll try to find that. Danny Sullivan, you might know Danny Sullivan. We worked on Danny Sullivan's car.
Yeah,
it had some history to it. So okay, well, enough about us. So all right, so hey, so Marcy Alex, you guys have had I listened to your journey, your story, and it was pretty cool to hear it. But Marcy, you spoke at this year's Mobile Tech, and it was a really cool program. Alex came up, we started a conversation right before that, and you hadn't known I'd met him yet, and we'd sat down and talked, and I was like, I remember walking away, and I met Alex, and I told Diana, I said, "Oh my God, this guy is so cool." And then I met you, and I was like, and I hadn't put two and two together, right? And I was like, "Oh my God, she's so cool." And then all of a sudden, well, you said, "Did you meet my husband?" And I was like, "Yeah." And you're like, and I was like, "Oh my God, you guys are like so cool," And that was my takeaway from seeing you guys and just seeing how you guys operate separately, but then also, bringing it together and seeing you guys together. So congratulations on that, because I think you made a pretty big splash at Mobile Tech.
Well, actually, what I said to you when you said I might have just met someone from your little town, I said, "Well, was he Asian?" Because there's not a lot of Asians. Yeah. And then I said, "Was he super handsome?"
Yeah.
And you said, "Well, yes, he was."
So, yeah, that's it. I said he's pretty hot. I said he's pretty hot. So yeah.
Well,
it was.
We can die now feeling accomplished and complete, because
no way.
We've been 30 kids all our life, and for some
so take us.
Yeah, I feel pretty accomplished now.
That's awesome. Take us back to the very beginning. So you guys get married. Whose idea detailing? Who came up with detailing? Who came up with the concept of detailing?
It was a journey, and like what it takes to stay in business is pivoting and responding to the market. So you want to tell it, Reader's Digest version, how it started? Because it didn't start with detailing.
I want to show you a prop first, because I love how you showed us your prop and how you started your business when you hit rock bottom, and you showed us that water hose that you built everything. This is my water hose.
Oh my goodness.
You see this computer here? This sucker has been through thick and thin with me. I signed up with, I was in IT for 10 years and got this wild idea in my head that I could start my own business. So I signed up for a franchise with a friend, and I did mobile painting at dealerships, but made a big mistake because I didn't really think it through. The franchise was taking 30% royalties.
Ooh.
And got old really fast. It not only did they take 30% royalties, but I didn't feel like I was getting back. I wasn't getting any leads from them, and I had to drum up my own leads. They didn't have any national contracts with dealerships. Everything was from the ground up, meaning we had to make cold calls and walk into sales towers and try to sell ourselves. And so I got tired of it, worked for them for about 1.5 years and broke free. I didn't have any signage on my van, so I just went off and put my own sign on. I used this computer that you see here through 3 or 4 seasons of mobile painting in Texas, triple-digit weather, painting bumpers and doing blending and stuff, and doing some retail work. And I'll get to the point. This is how I got into it. I didn't have enough work, and we even had to get on food stamps at the time. And I kept on, after I do a retail job, I would polish out the panel and I would wipe down the entire vehicle because I don't want any compound, nothing. I want it to look nice. I believe I even started carrying some tire shine and put tire shine on there. I tried to do little extras. And I had people come up to me and go, "Oh, I want you to detail my car too." And the dummy that I was like, "Detail? What do you mean detail?" I didn't even know what detail was. And they said, like what you're doing over there, getting the car shiny and cleaning the inside. I said, "No, you don't have a vacuum cleaner. Beat it." Told him to go away. This happened to me 3 times. And then finally, a friend of mine that was a doctor, he said, I did some touch-up paint for him and bumper painting. Yeah. And he goes, "Why don't you get into detailing?" I said, "Is there even money in that?" He said, "Well, I pay a guy to come to my house every 3 months, and I pay him about $400 to detail my car." And I was like, "What? You pay a guy $400 to detail your car?" He said, "Yeah, they do a good job." So I turned around, knowing nothing about detailing. I went to a local supplier and bought $300 worth of.
No, $250. I knew he was gonna get the number wrong. We bought $250 worth of supplies. Yep.
Take over from here.
And then made it back in one day. One day he's going to the dirt lots where he's painting the bumpers, and they had been asking, "Hey, do you know any detailers?" So they gave him 2 cars, boom, all our materials back, and still had all of the materials, and it took off from there.
I didn't even know what I was doing. I mean, I had a good friend of mine, or he became a good friend of mine. He came up and he complimented me on my work, and I pulled him aside and I said, "Hey, I know this sounds weird, but I'm not trying to stroke my ego or anything, but can you tell me why it's good? Because I don't even know why it's good. What is it that I'm doing that makes it a good detail? I don't even know." And he said, "Well, you pay attention to the areas that people don't pay attention to, like the wheel wells. You do, all the inside with the jams, and I don't see a speck of dirt." And I was like, "Oh, okay." That's how clueless I was.
I go back to this listening to you guys, and when you had an opportunity to go into business, right? Like so many people, and we get so excited, and we don't, we sell ourselves real quickly on stuff, right? Because a lot of us that are self-employed are really good salespeople, but we're best at selling ourselves on ideas. I'm still guilty of that. I've got to take and slow down. But I think what you went through, Alex, on those 3, it's pretty ironic you say this. I think that's the 3 knock theory. Is God knocked on your door 3 times. He went, "Hey, stupid, I've got something for you." And you go, "Oh man, I don't need that." And then all of a sudden he brings another delivery to you, Boom, boom, boom. I don't need that. And usually a lot of people, believe it or not, will ignore the 3rd knock and move on. But somehow, that 3rd knock worked for you. And I call it, God knocking on your door 3 times. And I've learned about the 2nd knock. I still haven't mastered getting that 1st knock all the time. Most of the time I ignore that 1st knock, but I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at it. But I think it's amazing that you had those knocks on the door that took you down your journey down a whole nother way, and that you realized it and you're owning it. That's pretty exciting. So you get those first clients, you have no idea what the heck you're doing.
Oh, interesting.
Somebody pays you a compliment because it's probably your dedication and your self-awareness that you have to do a good job for somebody, right? So what happens next? Why how does it continue explain kind of your transition into going mainstream into detailing and from that point on?
I'll do Reader's Digest version. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So again, we pivot a lot, and we were not getting a high volume of work in the bumper market or repainting bumpers, and so he kept asking different dealerships, "Do you need any help in the detail department?" And a dealership needs you when it's a crisis. And so once one of their detail departments fell apart, we were called in, and that's when I really stepped into the business. And it's safe to say, right, I'm really good at interiors. And so I managed that bay with all our guys while he would still run out and do the routes of painting. And And so it was like what I call our paid internship. It was not high money, not high margins. Um, Embarrassing to say how much errors were made in hiring and all that stuff, but it was paid internship. You know, it was enough to survive, and that's where we kept our business for a good long while. And we were wondering in all our ignorance, why aren't we getting, like, people are always happy with us, anyone that we have worked for. So why don't I get more referrals? Honey, I didn't have a Google My Business listing. And how could I? How could I if I'm inside of a dealership? They kind of own us, right? I keep their hours. It's Mother May I. And so we stepped out of that and we're detailing at our own home. And then the dealerships ended up coming back to us and saying, well, our department still can't do it. So we had a street full of cars. Like, we were just waiting for someone to call us out on all the cars we had up and down the street. And we finally took a step and saying, I think we have enough work here. Let's get our own shop. And I mean, if you want to look up how to not run a detail business right, I should make a blog post for that. So,
Right.
so
Yeah.
I rented
So many mistakes.
I rented a location, didn't know anything about zoning, found out that I couldn't stay there, but it was still the step in the right direction, and we were scared to death to do that. I mean, anyway, so once the city said, no, you absolutely can't stay here because of EPA and all that, we ended up finding this current location, and I mean to tell you what a difference it's been having the physical location. We're going into our 4th year here, and learning like crazy as we went, and really figuring out the game changers that the marketing is and social media. And by the way, let me just say, I haven't even scratched the surface with doing the marketing right.
Mhm.
So
No. Well, it changes so often, you know, and that is just like our technology within, you know, our using our hands, is you got to keep up on that. But marketing trends change, you know, the algorithms of social media change. Google's constantly changing. Now you've got, you know, DuckDuckGo that you've got to contend with. It's as an upcoming search engine. You've got all these different things that you've got to constantly keep, you know, your finger on the pulse, and it's really tough. So take us through. So you go through business and family, you know, as you guys are, you know, young, you're going after things, you know, you opened up about having some financial hardships.
mm-hmm.
How you handle those things?
That's the hardest part. You know, actually, what's funny is just like most people, we're our worst own enemy. I know I am. Believe it or not, I am a wiry, what do you say, squirrely guy. I'm full of energy, and it's hard for me to stay calm, keep my head right. And that's probably where that's my weakness. That's where I try to work on the most, is just trying to have the right mindset. Going back a little bit to Marcy's comment about our business, I just want to comment a little bit more about that. At one time, we thought the formula of success is just doing a lot. Is it like we had the shotgun method? We just like, let's just throw it on the wall and see what sticks. And that was our methodology. So I was getting up early in the mornings doing lot washes. I was coming back running the shop. I was still running painting routes. I was like a hamster in a wheel, just doing all these things. And to the outside, you know, it seemed like, oh, wow, he's doing really good. But actually, we weren't really all that profitable during that period. And then now the switch is that we've actually slowed down to speed up. We've let go of a lot of things that we thought that was our success. We let go of the dealerships. We let go of the lot washes. We became specialists in paint correction, ceramic coatings, and she's in her first year of PPF. So we've slowed down. We don't have as much volume of work. There are times where we don't have enough work, but we chose that. We chose that. And so I hope that answered your question. And I even forgot what your question is. Sorry, Renny.
No, that's what I'm the same way you're talking about. Wiry. I don't even sit down for these podcasts. You know, I stand up. I'm just not I'm an energy type of person, so I dig it. So no, I think it's, you know, it's the old saying, you know, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, right? is that you've got to realize where you're just spinning your wheels and where you're exchanging time for money, and the money's just really going to everything except for you.
That's
right. It's that if you've got staff, there's a lot of work that you could be doing that is just going to paying your staff. And sometimes in the slow time, that's okay. That's great, but it can't be 24/7, 12 months out of the year that you've got a certain part of your staff that's all they're doing is paying themselves. That's not a good thing. So I think that's where you're going, is that, you found out the things that were just kind of you're spinning your wheels on, and you decide, okay, let's exit out of those things that we're wasting our time with and start building up the things that matter.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Absolutely. Point on.
Yeah.
We have a mentor that helped us, and one of the things that he said is, do you know your numbers? You know how much you have to make a day, a week? You know where you're at. You can't get somewhere without knowing where you currently are. And a lot of people don't want to look at that because they don't want to see the reality. They don't want to know how bad they're doing. And we took a sober look at what we were doing, and that's what led us to make the decisions. We can let go of the dealerships, because I found out that as much as I thought these big fat checks I was getting, at the end of the month, 8 to 10 grand, but when I split it up, I realized with all it was less. So anyways, with all the work that we put in it, and sending people picking up the vehicles and delivery and all this headaches that they put us through, we said no. We're gonna hang it up, and that was by looking at our numbers.
Numbers are so important. I had a real eye opener with the gentleman, at a young guy in his 30s down in Mobile Tech. So I had a guy come to the booth and he's talking to me, and my alarm bells go up because he's immediately telling me how successful he is. And anytime somebody starts out a conversation like that, to me it's just odd. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just we get it all the time in the industry. It's and not just our industry, in any industry. And the guys, he's peacocking a little bit, right? And he's telling me how good he's doing and how much money he's bringing in and how successful the shop is. And he's thinking about a second location, and he's got all these people working for him. And that later that night, we're out on the patio, and I don't drink. I'm just not just never been a drinker, right? And this guy is blitzed out on the patio, and I happened to run into him. I think he was going back to the bar. And I personally don't think there's a good place for business and having a adult beverage. There's no place in business to be at an event and be drunk. I just think it's not a good combination. Well, he opens up. Well, guess what? This, not going to mention his name. He hasn't paid taxes in 15 years. State or federal. 15 years. And I didn't say anything because he was quite intoxicated, but the truth came out. And the reason why he's successful is he's not successful, is that he's going to lose everything. They're going to catch up to him. And I just put my hand on his shoulder and I said, you need to go find a good CPA right away, good bookkeeper, get your books back into order for, at least right now for the, going in for this year, start working on last year, and then have them, go to the mercy of the IRS and your state tax board and, start that process of cleaning things up, because the longer it goes, you could be looking at jail time if you're making that kind of money that you're saying and not doing it. So back to Alex's point is, I don't think a lot of people want to look at the numbers. I don't think they know how to look at their numbers.
Right.
And I think they're living in a fairy tale land, and I've done it. I'm guilty of that. I've been in those positions, but it was for a very, very short time. I hired somebody under the table, hoping they didn't get hurt. I've been in those positions, and I can tell you it's not worth the risk in all cases. Do it legit, be above the board. And that's what I hear you guys saying. Yep. So you guys have learned. What's the takeaway if you had to each, and this is a question to each one of you, and we're going to kind of throw you under the bus on this because we didn't practice this, right? Is that if there was one eye-opening moment, what was that for each one of you? Where you said, hold on, man, we've got an opportunity here, but we got to do it right. What was the thing that opened your eyes? Was there a moment? Was there a time? Was there a conversation? Was there an event? What was it?
Go ahead. You start that.
Okay, so mine would be not very long ago, maybe only 2 years ago, my mentor was telling me the things I needed to put in place to drive more business, because we had the skill, we had a decent selling personality, but we were playing so freaking small. And and I and I needed to market, and he was showing me how, and it's just like, just do the stuff he's saying, and I'm sitting at my desk and I'm crying because it's not aligning with my identity, whatever small version of that it was. And so for me personally, this might not be other detailers, I had to look at what were my limiting beliefs, what did I need to get out of my own way to be able to go do this stuff, because we knew how to make cars beautiful. We that wasn't the missing piece. It was the presentation to customers when they show up, that where we add value, where I put it out there on social media. And I have to say, I'm still learning and improving in that. Like, most definitely, there's a huge gap between what I know I can do and what we're doing. But that moment of facing, like, I'm in my own way, that was it for me.
That's pretty awesome. Alex?
Yeah, I would have to agree with her. That would be also my biggest moment where we transitioned as of recent. So since she took my answer,
Really?
I'll go
But you weren't
ahead.
at the desk crying.
Well, I'm a very sensitive guy.
No,
I
you
cry,
weren't. No.
cry myself to sleep. I do it after you fall asleep. No, I'm very unemotional. I hardly ever cry. But anyways, so I'll take a different answer. Can you rephrase that question one more time so I can get it in my head? So I can
What was the moment, that aha moment where you had to change things up, where it was like, okay, man, we've got something here, and we're just, this ain't working. We got to get to the next level. What was that? What was the wake up call for you?
Okay, so I'm going to answer that Alex style my own way. So what I deem as success now has changed from what I thought would be success in the past. In the past, I thought it was if I hit a certain number, like 6-figure, wow, let's shoot up the confetti. And then once we hit 6-figure, I realized, oh my gosh, it's not all that. If you make over 100 grand, it sounds good and all, but man, once you start paying everybody and everything, it's like, it's not all that great. So when we were in the dealership, we were working so hard, and then I saw what we actually were keeping, and I'm going, wow, I'm not even with my kids. A lot of that time period, I would basically go home at 8 o'clock and put the kids to bed. They were still young, read them a story, tuck them in bed, and that's it. My time with them was probably 1 or 2 hours.
Max. That's generous. Yeah.
So that's probably
Both
the turning point in my life, is when I realized that everything was just flashing before me very quickly. And then, now it's amazing, because who cares what the number, because I walk to work. The work is here. I close my door. I work from 8 to 5. We open on Saturdays when we have overflow work, but we don't work on Saturdays, which is like mind blowing. Having a detail shop and not working Saturdays, like, what are you, crazy? But the point is, we have control over our life now, and the quality of life is amazing. I've got a brewery in the backyard. I could walk to the brewery. I've landed so many ceramic coating jobs from my drinking buddies over there.
I know you. Little marketing.
You don't drink, Renny. I drink. I don't get drunk, but that's my way of, like, I go there in downtown where we're at, and I do the marketing.
Networking. Always networking.
I'm always networking. ABC, awesome. Always be closing.
My reason for drinking is simple. I think drinking's awesome. I wish I had the taste for it. I really do, because beer looks so good, right? When I'm in Europe, I do actually have a drink. I'll have a beer. Somebody tells me, if Diane goes, oh, you're gonna like this beer, it means it's really foo-fooey, and it's real light, and it's really, I will do that. But my mind comes from watching a family full of addicts, and me being very young, and me just making the conscious decision that my family's got an issue, and I'm going to go ahead and stay away from that issue. I've got a very addictive personality. It's real hard for me to turn business. I'm going through a point right now where my mind is working faster than I can keep up with it. And I've got to slow down. And it's really because I think I'm on the threshold of something really cool. I don't know. I can just feel things. It sounds weird, but there's new things on the horizon. There's cool things happening right now in our boat. But that's not a good thing on your personal life. I've got to slow down and make sure I tell Diane, what she means to me, and pay attention to people in my life, and make sure that I'm being respectful to Chris and, our Double Black team and the Detail Mafia and the industry. I'm that so pointed, Alex, that's why I'm glad that I don't drink. But I do have an occasional, if it's got an umbrella in it and a piece of pineapple, I'm all over it. I'm all over it. So, you mentioned something, Alex, right now. It's added income. Doesn't always mean what it sounds like. Added income comes with added stress, added work, and added risk. And it's our jobs to figure out how to increase our income without adding the added stress, the added work, and minimalizing the risk. And that's where a lot of people, that's where I was hung up at, is I was a balls to the wall, hang it out there, everything, risk it all. And then when I was young, I'd lose it. I was like, oh crap. Man, it took me 5 years to get, all this money saved up, and it's gone. And it's because it was unbridled. You mentioned that unbridled energy. I'll relate this back to search and rescue hunters. When we go chasing, and one of my worst nightmares is when I get a call and I've got to go out for a missing hunter. And the reason why is when hunters go missing, usually it's one of two things. They've either injured something and they're going looking for it, and it's emotional. They don't want to take and have the animal suffer, which I really appreciate. Or they just didn't get into the game they're looking for, and they just kept going and kept going. And hunters don't stop. It's unbridled energy. And then most recently with my horse, he's 7 years old. He's 16 hands, which is tall. He's 1,300 pounds, which is big. And he's a juvenile. He's only 7. And so I'm his security blanket. And Diane will even tell you when he's walking with me, if he gets spooked, the first thing he does is he puts his whole body against me and wants me to protect him. And I'm like, dude, you're 1,300 pounds. It's unbridled fear, right? Is that he's got all the energy to protect him and I. He really does. It's fight or flight, and he's got the energy to take off. And every once in a while he does. He'll bolt. And I've learned to create, and I'm going to relate this stuff back to business, I promise, is I've learned to feel him. And I can feel his energy change before he bolts, and I can calm him down, or we'll change a direction. You've got to get that sense in business too, is that you've got to be able to put risk out there, but not too much risk. And you've got to be able to feel the energy around you when it changes, is stop that forward motion, go around it, change something up, really pay attention to what you're doing. So I think that you really brought that out. That was good points. And so I think you're a very emotional guy, by the way, Alex. You got emotional with me. It kind of made my day when I first met you. So I think it's pretty cool. So maximizing profits. Let's go into that a little bit. Tell me about that.
Okay. So Tom Kirby just put a comment up that I really like. It says success is measured in many ways. Money is not the key. And now, you're not going to feel very successful if you don't have money, but the whole game is not money. And so how this thing started was, I have always loved budgeting. Back in the day when we first had kids, we followed Dave Ramsey plan, and I paid off $67,000 of debt with that while having 2 babies and stopping work. So income was going down, but still through budgeting, we were able to handle that. And so I loved that. And I also loved that we were able to save something for the future. And so we were, just doing the standard Roth IRA investing. Well, back at the time it wasn't Roth, but anyway, investing. And so I love it so much that I called Jimbo up and said, hey, Jimbo, please, can I come on your podcast? and talk about this, because I have a feeling detailers aren't like, I didn't always want to take advantage of it when his company was offering it and matching it. Small-minded, his history, Marcy was like, oh no, you can't do that, baby. I need all that money. I can't afford to be without that 6%. The heck.
Right.
And so Jimbo was like, yeah, this is a good topic. So we got on. And while we were doing that interview, he mentions the book Profit First. And I had not heard of it. Although I had gone to the Mike McCullough, the author's class at SEMA, and walked out because I was like, this guy and his profits garbage. He doesn't, I have to have some profits to save some profits. He's just smoking crack. Okay. So, he mentions that book, and I read it and the scales fell from my eye. I could budget at home no matter what. When we were getting that pathetic little, which I'm not proud of being on food stamps, it's a low moment, but they would give me $26 a month, and I would go and buy beans and rice with $26. And of course we had, enough other money, but I valued that. I really valued that. And so no matter what we had, I've always been able to make it stretch, but the business was another story. It was like a screaming baby, out of control. We were just feeding it. Income would go up, expenses would go up. Hustle more, work harder, expenses. And it was just a cycle that wasn't ending until I read that book and did what he said and opened the different accounts. And so from that, I asked Jimbo, can I come back on the podcast? Because people need to know about this. And he said yes. And from there, I had people messaging me just from listening to that podcast, telling me their stories. And like some things that I took for granted, like fundamental things that we were doing, it turned out that others weren't doing it. And so that's what brought up this whole idea of what we're doing right now. And so it's not really an academy, like big picture vision. I don't know what's out there. Right now, what we're putting on is called a summit. And in other industries are super popular. And I got to thinking, there's not been a summit in the detailing industry yet. And here's what's behind this idea. I love how straightforward you are. I love how meticulous and precise Ivan is. I love another person's sales technique. I'm taking and I'm extracting from everybody, but I don't always have the time to go down the rabbit hole of listening to all the podcasts or I'll blow a night away just watching a bunch of rad company videos. And so I was like, what if I took all these people, and by the way, there's more than what I got on here that I wanted. So this is not a reflection of who's the authority. It's just who was willing to play right now. And what if I ask each of them to talk about something like I'm really passionate about budgeting and investing for your future. And each of you has your thing that you really love too, that you can see this gap in the marketplace, what we're not paying attention to. And so I did these interviews, and what happens is, if you say, yeah, I want to be a part of it, you sign up, and for 10 days in your email box, you'll get 2 interviews, 2 guys, and they're going to get right to it. Like, I don't like a lot of fluff. Let's cut to it and let's talk about this thing. Tell us what it is we need to pay attention to so we can all get to where you guys are at.
Yeah, it's pretty, I was blessed to be involved with it, with you guys and interviewing, and it was pretty exciting, and here's some of it that's up there right now, some of the guests and so forth, and Chris is going to kind of span through this, but it's really exciting to be a part, with these individuals, and a lot of them come from not just a background in detailing. Some of these professionals come from big businesses and big corporations, and they've got a lot of different things going on and opinions and so forth, so it's pretty exciting. So, so let's go and where do you think, after seeing Mobile Tech, and again, I'm going to throw you in front of the bus. After seeing Mobile Tech, the response that you've gotten, you spoke, first off, the presence with powerful women was stronger than I've ever seen it, and really ever dreamed that I would see it in the detailing industry. So that was exciting. Did you guys kind of witness the same thing?
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
That we've got not just yourself, but a lot of powerful women technicians that are coming, to the forefront of the industry. And I just think it's amazing. I think it's cool that the women are bringing a whole different element and taste and flavor and professionalism and viewpoints. And it's pretty cool. I think that it's pretty exciting to see them there and partaking in it, and to see you up on stage, and speaking. And you did a great job, by the way. So where do you guys think, and this is a question to each one of you, what do you think is in store? Do you think, no, I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna segue real quick.
Mm-hmm.
One of my things I come up through, and back in my day, and I've said this a lot in recent interviews, is that in a decade, you'd typically see one minor slowdown, and then something that was a little more severe, with the economy, slowing down. We haven't seen that. It's been a decade of just kept slowly building up. 2012, 08 hit, and then we sat there and we just kind of hovered on the bottom for a little while, and then slowly, our brands, we started building up quite rapidly. By 2010, we were through our hard spot, and we actually we grew like crazy, and I know a lot of people are the same way, but we really haven't had, a lot of people are calling, COVID a slowdown. Boy, I just don't, maybe for some industries, I'm sure some restaurants were hit really hard. Some have really succeeded, but we haven't had a slowdown. And do you think the detailing industry is prepared for that when it does happen? Because it's going to happen.
That's a good question. I mean, you got me going. I mean,
I can get into that.
oh yeah, please. I'm not.
Absolutely. I think that we are ready for it if we take advantage of the tools and what's available to us now. For example, we have such great mentors like you in the industry, and that's one of the reasons why we decided to put the summit together, is because we're like, man, look at all these guys that are willing to give back to the industry, because you guys realize that, if you strengthen up the industry, it's going to help everybody out. And so I really feel like, despite the slowdown, if we implement what we should really be implementing, I learned this back from Levi and Ivan many years ago. They said that we're not in the business of detailing cars. Detailing cars or having shiny cars is a result of customer service. So we shifted our mindset to not that the main thing is that they get back a shiny car. The main thing is that we take care of people. I mean, we have people coming in to us asking us what's the best wiper blades to use, how to maintain their car, and we don't know these answers, but we'll get them to the answer. And people have looked at us, trustworthy, like we're almost like a family friend, a confidant, something that happened in their life. They come and they talk to us. We stay connected and plugged into them, and that's why they're going to come back. So I'm confident that we can weather it. Well, I mean, we might not be eating steaks every night, but I know we're going to be able to weather it.
That's good.
We're building relationships, not focusing, on necessarily just the best product.
We all the slowdowns we've seen a lot, in my career. We've seen, and I think that, maybe society, I don't think society's doing a better job. I think people are more reckless financially right now than they've ever been before. But I think our government and our economy's changed to where it has they've gotten better at controlling interest rates. Inflation is skyrocketing. We're having a price increase even in our companies, you have to cover down on what's going on. But as a mentor, I'm going to tell people this right now, is that you've got to save. You've got to put away. Don't spend. And you got to minimalize. You've got to look at it as, is this a need or a want? Is it really something I really, really need to make my business better? Or is this me just wanting something? And, I've always used this term. Somebody taught me this, is that you don't own things. Things own you. And, if they're paid for, it's great because you can liquidate. But I've lived through, my grandmother was a survivor of, she was a child. She saw an airplane and an automobile for the first time on the same day on a 4th of July parade. Okay, that's my grandma. I mean, she had never seen a car before, and she had never seen an airplane before, and she saw both. So going back, she lived through and remembers as a very young child World War I. She lived through the Great Depression. She lived through World War II, and her husband being, my grandpa being shipped off, to war for 3 years. She lived through the Cuban crisis, with the Cold War. She lived through Vietnam. She lived through segregation. She lived through civil rights. She had all these things. And so with that, I come from a stone of that. We didn't have much. And really, you can live quite nicely without a lot, is that as long as you center the right people around you and you know that you don't own things own you. And so I think our industry needs to better prepare. I think we need to stop spending money. There's things that you want to spend money on. And it's like I tell anybody, listen, if you're educated and your company's doing well, you're all up to date on your bills, you're all up to date on your taxes, you've got money to spare, in savings. If things get tough, you can pay your bills. If you didn't get 1 ounce of business in for 6 to 12 months and you could take care of yourself just with what you've got put away, you're in good shape to go do things. If the answer to any of that is no, I don't have that, well, then you need to save a little bit before you spend a lot of money going to SEMA. You need to save, maybe go get educated, maybe take a college course on business financing. You need to take in, leases. I've learned a valuable lessons by having leases, right? Not all leases are created equal. And so you got to know what you're doing. So, well, guys, it's been really cool. So let's talk about, the Academy. When's everything launching? Tell us about that. How can people get involved?
Yes. So it's right around the corner. And this thing is time-based. It's February. I made it I'm kind of dingy. So I made it a date that nobody could forget. It's February 22nd, 2022. That is less than a week away. And there's a link right here on the screen. So it's detailmastersacademy.com. And that's where you sign up right there, and then I will be emailing you. And every day, like I said, 2 speakers are coming out with some super awesome topics. Oh my gosh, I didn't even cover it. I don't know if we have the time.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
run through it, because I want to whet your appetite for what you're in store for. So we got Billy Bogus, Jeremy Stevens, and GJ Patterson. They're going to be talking about health, whether it's physical health or mental health, how those are like key foundational things to your business running right. I got Ivan and Dan Williams talking about phone skills. I mean, come on, phone skills, how stupid simple is that? No, it's they see like 90% of us don't handle our phone calls right, between answering and the systems and processes that we use to be able to onboard and close big jobs, ceramic coating jobs. And then I have customer service experience. I learned so much from Bernice and Grant Menard. They are so relational, making sure that the experience for the customer is like they feel like royalty. And I have slowed down. I like to get things done. Well, that's great, but how does the customer feel? And so I am just unplugging, slowing down, giving them all my attention. That's what my little tagline for our business is: drive away happy. Well, I want to be sure you experience that you drive away happy, that you're seen, that you're acknowledged. It's so rare today. All right, enough about that. Jimbo's going to cover some touches on marketing. And then Dustin Jackson talks about the power of goals and consistency. But besides mindset, goals and consistency, honey, that I can't get enough of that. And Levi Gates, for me, turns everything upside down when it comes to networking with your other detailers. Because there's way more. That's just like scratching the surface. These guys deliver in 30 to 45 minutes per interview. I'm looking at that. Juan Gonzalez talks more about what you were mentioning, how to take your money and make sure that even in the slow times, if you're like up north and things literally have to slow down, you're not hurting. And it's just simple. Everything is really simple if we just do it.
Juan, a lot of people don't realize this. I've mentioned it a couple times. Juan worked for me up in our Sun Valley office.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we were together on 9/11. When 9/11.
Every speaker I see, I want to tell you about them. Everyone has great topics. Like Justin Lobato, he brings it. Joe Kimball talks about having a mission, like some other extra cert thing that you're about, and how powerful that is. So they really bring it.
Well, hey, we want to thank you guys for coming on. Make sure you guys go sign up. There's a link on the screen right now. Guys, I'd love to have you back after this is completed. You guys can gain some numbers, and some input. Let's have you back on and talk about what you guys have learned by hosting this, and thanks for being an inspiration. I think what this event's going to do is it's going to blossom other events that just keep on, helping us grow. And a lot of people just don't think of it this way, but the more of this kind of education and the more that the people in the industry value education and the smarter people we bring into the industry that's not even there right now, the stronger the industry becomes, the stronger we become independently. And so I want to commend you on doing that. Pretty amazing. Very proud of you. So how do people reach out to you if they want to contact you? What's a good email? And how do they find you on social media?
Well, first, let me say thank you to you, Renny. I forgot to say that I had this one guy that a few people know about. His name's Renny. He might be the final day's presenter because, I had to save the best for last. So up to you. I couldn't even believe when y'all said yes. How do you reach out to us? Well, on Facebook, we are Marcy Tran or Alex Tran. And then, of course, there is the Detailed Masters Academy. I made a page, finally. I told you I'm behind on social media. And if it's by email, it's just info@detailedmastersacademy.com. I know it's kind of long, but it's all spelled the regular words.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, hey, have a blessed day. Thanks for coming on, man. We're excited to talk to you after the academy is all finished up. And guys, make sure everybody sign up for this. I think it's going to be exciting to kind of see what this brings and the conversations that start. So
I can't wait to get the feedback from people, what they want more of, what they liked.
I dig it. Well, hey, you guys take care. God bless everybody. Happy detailing. We'll see you next time. Take care.